right, and before we get into trending this week, shout out to our friends, Tactilian, TACTILIAN.com. With the promo code BASED, saves you 15% off the order at the checkout. They have gifts for the Patriot in your life, which includes, but is not limited to, decals for your vehicle, collars for your dog, clothes for yourself, decorations for your home and office, you name it. Tactilian.com, TACTILIAN.com, promo code BASED, BASED, like the title of the show. Going to save you 15% off your order at the checkout. It's also going to help go to Build Homes for Wounded Veterans, a portion of the proceeds, so we can get them off the streets in cold times like this. They get them off the streets and into one of Justin Healy's slums. All right, trending this week. First up, what do we got here? So Elon Musk, and let's talk the so-called Nazi salute.
I'm so fed up.
Should we play the Nazi? Here it is, right here. Good guys, trigger warning. This might upset some of you. Says my heart goes out to you. Shortly after that, it cuts out. I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? This is pure desperation. They have nothing else to lean on, so they're going to a guy who's clearly autistic and doesn't know how to behave himself in public, making an awkward robotic hand gesture. That's literally all this is.
And stop with saying it's a Roman salute. No, stop it. He's just making a gesture. And it got a little
and he's
awkward,
autistic.
And he's autistic, like whatever. I'm so fed up. I have a theory about this, is that basically the left was so hyper focused on like the fascism and like Trump is the next Hitler. This is 1930s Germany for so many years. That the moment this pops up, they grasp onto it and have a death grip on it because they're losing ground. They lost huge. Mm-hmm. And they're continuing to losing, and they need this to be true. They need it to be true.
They can't accept that he's not Hitler.
No, this is the last. This is it. Like you said, it's desperation. They need it to be true because it makes all their bullshit criticisms come true if it is true, and because it's not, they are doing everything they can. They're when I see it on TikTok, they're like pushing people out. I mean, heck, at the Sydney, they kept talking about Nazi salutes, obviously, because they're a bunch of
faggots,
fat ugly retards. Yeah. And so it's so insane that these people can't just see it and be like,
you ugly.
Huh. Look at that. Look at that guy. Just have a stiff, like, whatever. Like, you watch that and you go, hey, man, my heart goes out to you. I like your enthusiasm. And that's it.
Yeah. You might make the joke that he did the Hitler thing, but to take it seriously, especially the way AOC did, check out what this fucking idiot said here. This is AOC.
Oh, what she went out to.
You're going to do a Sig Heil? You're going to do a Hail Hitler? Or their rebrand a Roman salute from behind the presidential seal of the United States of America?
Can we stop electing theater kids?
It's on. It's on. And what is so important for us to understand,
whatever she's about to say, I guarantee you is not that important.
Is that as long as we don't give up, it's not over. It's not over. It is not over. Libs of TikTok started crying because I said over the weekend that Donald Trump is a rapist, and they went on Twitter and they went, oh, boo hoo hoo, and I said basically, F you, cry more. I don't give a shit. You want to support a rapist? That's on you. That's on you. But I don't. And they wanted to call in all of these threats into my office and all this other stuff. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn.
Well, she said the D word. Okay, so I counted. She repeated herself 5 times. The woman does everything else aside, political differences aside.
I'm tired of these hood acting theater kids getting in there. I'm sick and tired of it.
But political differences aside, AOC does a phenomenal job at saying absolutely nothing while saying a whole lot of stuff. Like it's just she managed, it's like I said, to repeat herself 5 times, stutter over her words 3 or 4 times, and managed to say in that 90-second diatribe absolutely nothing of substance. That's her whole brand. She is very, and AOC is very, what's that?
Gotta get them riled up.
AOC is very inspiring to uninspiring people. That's my 2 cents on her. That's the vibe I get from her. And she's a theater kid. She's phony. It's fake outrage. She's not an idiot. She knows that that's not what that was. She knows she's intentionally trying to fan the flame. You can tell in her voice she's not as upset as she's trying to be. She's a theater kid.
Yeah, she's manipulative. She's playing to an audience. And this is funny when you see a lot of the different leftists out there is you have AOC, who, as much as people want to say, is like, oh, she's such a dumb, she's so idiot. It's like, look, she's like an idiot, but she's not stupid.
Right.
So like she knows that she's manipulating people. She knows she's getting them worked up. But you see people like Crockett, and you see people like
I'll lose sponsors if I give you my opinion on Crockett.
But like whatever, like in the squad, and you have like the different senators are doing their best to get them. Those people are actually stupid.
Yeah.
And they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, those people are idiots.
But AOC, you see what she's doing. She knows her base.
She is. She does.
She knows her base.
She does. I think the problem. Well, here, let's take a look. By the way, here we got a video of AOC here that I felt that might add some context to this. Uh-oh. What you doing there, AOC? What are you doing there? I can't. Why are you being a Nazi?
Either everyone is a Nazi or no one is.
They are. It's not just her. Boom. Look at this right there. All of them. Well, Hillary, Ilhan Omar, Bernie Sanders, Clinton.
Ilhan Omar.
Obama.
Doesn't like the Jews.
No, she does not. She might actually be serious here. Here's Tim Walz.
Oh,
no, not Coach Sandusky. And here's my personal favorite, Kamala Harris, right there doing it too. So it's like you said, either everyone's a Nazi or this just happens to be something people do with their arms from time. Are you ready for them to use this on me now? At least you make my arm look good, right? You know, that's I
like.
Okay.
But it's like, look, I've seen enough Hitler videos.
Yes,
trust me.
I've watched. No one's seen more Hitler videos than me.
More videos of 1930s Germany than me. It's not that.
It's not that. And you know what? People are honestly done buying it. They're done. They tried to label the Madison Square Garden rally a Nazi rally just because it was held at Madison Square Garden. Literally no other reason. They're like, oh, this Nazi thing's bullshit.
Yeah.
Even I would be willing to bet the majority of the average swing voters that voted for Kamala Harris, probably 80%, do not believe Donald Trump is a Nazi. This is a fringe, loud minority. The folks on the left, the folks in the establishment know this, and they're trying to play to that base to rile them up. It helps them raise money, and it helps them stay in the news. That's literally all this is.
It's like honking at a short bus. You know they're hooting and hollering.
Also, don't you guys find it a little bit ironic that the people who spent the whole summer holding up signs saying gas the Jews on college campuses are now all of a sudden really concerned about Nazism in America?
This is how you know that they're controlled because a lot of what the left does is projection.
Mm-hmm.
No one on the right is going, we're not in a cult. They just like, you're in a cult, and people are like, whatever.
Sure.
We just move on. Because it's projection. They will flip a switch. They will turn on a dime the moment that their narrative changes.
Yep, that they're told to.
So it goes from, hey, you need to hate the Jews because of what's happening over in Israel. Okay, we hate the Jews. All right.
Yeah.
Here's all the points that actually align with 1930s Germany.
Yeah.
But you know what? We don't like him. Hey, actually, you got to defend the Jews right now because he made an odd hand signal. I can't believe this anti-Semitism. I can't believe it.
The nerve of the absolute nerve of the party that passed up a way more qualified and electable VP candidate in Josh Shapiro for no reason other than the fact he was Jewish, let's be honest here, to accuse anybody else of anti-Semitism is through the roof, batshit bananas crazy.
Election would have been a lot closer if Josh Shapiro was the VP.
He may deliver Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. He may deliver Pennsylvania. He was formidable, and yeah, I mean I don't know. I still don't think they win, but I agree. I think it's closer.
I think it's closer.
It's closer. They went with the biggest goofball in the world because they had no plan B. They didn't realize people were going to be that their base was going to be so pissed they picked a Jewish guy. And here we are. And they're calling you an anti-Semite. Really let that sit in for a second. It's crazy to me. Crazy. Well, they also freaked out about the rally being held indoors rather than outdoors. Well, I heard it was 8 degrees out with a 20 below wind chill. And you know for a fact that if one person got frostbite, if one person went to the hospital, if God forbid one person died.
How could Trump do this?
Trump would have been branded a murderer.
Yeah. And
immediately.
I remember, like, I was watching this video and there's a stupid idiot and he was going on. I was like, well, Obama was brave. He was out there when it was like 30 something degrees and it was
big difference between 30 and negative 20.
Big difference.
There's a 30 and still versus 8 with wind. Believe me, man, I'm from the Midwest. Big difference.
and those people are out there that like travel and they want to be there and they're upset. It's like, oh, I'm sad that he's not having it outside. Like I came all this way. It's like, okay, yeah, still have fun in DC.
Right. There's still shit to do. There's a bunch of parties and stuff. Yeah.
Sorry you don't get to see the inauguration. Like you can watch it live, go to a restaurant, do something.
Yeah.
But it's not a big deal that's inside.
Here's my question, and we'll never get the answer to this, but it's still my question here, is how much of this was actually moved inside because of the weather? And how much of the weather thing was just a convenient excuse because there were credible threats to his life? And they were concerned that somebody was going to make some type of move, and they went, look, it's going to be shitty weather outside. We're going to have an excuse without getting asked a whole bunch of questions if we move it inside. Let's not cause chaos. Let's not take away from the day, and let's eliminate the threat without having to do all that much.
I think that's fair. I think right now, though, they tried with their threats. Because, you know, Trump goes down, JD Vance is.
Yeah, now it's too late.
It's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. Yeah, if JD Vance would be worse for them than Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you have to imagine, it wouldn't just be JD Vance. It would be JD Vance with an axe to grind.
Right.
And no mercy. Like he would be, it's different from JD Vance getting elected president 4 years from now. This would be JD Vance who feels persecuted.
Right.
Like he needs to come after his enemies.
And just the most likable and relatable guy.
He is.
His entire campaign.
I'm getting his book. I want to read it.
And
Hillbilly Elegy. From what I understand, him and I have quite a bit in common, so I want to read it. So
he like understanding like where you come from, and like I saw so much support from people on like rational people, obviously, that are like, hey, even like being a Democrat, seeing like where he ended up.
It's the American dream.
Like, it's huge. It's such a huge.
This guy was trailer park trash from addict parents raised by his grandmother.
To go after him with like the couch thing, which wasn't
even real.
It wasn't even real.
Never happened.
They're making fun of like the way his eyes are, saying he has eyeliner on and everything.
They made fun of him for calling his grandma his Meemaw.
Yeah, and it's like they're going
which
after
I think is
all
wholesome
this, like,
that he still calls her that.
But you dare say a mean thing to them, and like it's.
Oh yeah. I call AOC horseface, and I'm a monster.
Yeah.
You know, I call a biological man in a wig sir, and I'm a murderer. You know. Okay, let's go to the next one here. We've got. This is a funny one. So Biden issued his pardons. Have you been following the Biden pardons? Here's the comparison, by the way. George W. Bush in 8 years pardoned 200 people. Barack Obama in 8 years pardoned 1,927. Donald Trump in 4 years pardoned 237. Joe Biden in 4 years pardoned 8,064 people. One of them was his own son. So much for nobody's above the law, huh? That's.
I still think it's Joe Biden pardoning these people. I think it's someone else.
He's pardoned members of his own family, Dr. Fauci, General Milley, all of the Congress members involved in the January 6th committee, 1 week after saying that he's only going to pardon people who have committed crimes. So was this a Freudian slip by Joe, or did he reverse course? Why do they need pardons? Why do they need? Did you see? Have you seen what Trump had to say about Biden's pardons, though?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
This is great. Check this out.
This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And you know, the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is He didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him.
I love just the ominous threat there.
It's incredible.
You know, that's like, I was kind of telling you about my issue with a legal issue I've got with the company right now. I cracked an email off tonight, right? I could have sent it during the day so the employee would have seen it today, but I cracked it off tonight because it's part of psychological warfare, knowing that that person's going to go in and their day is immediately going to start with their heart falling through their pants when they see this email. That's kind of the same thing there. Right. You know, Joe shit bricks when he saw that. Like, oh shit, I did forget to pardon myself.
It's amazing.
It's just the ominous. He didn't say anything, but it's kind of like the mob, right? Yeah. It's like he floated the idea, like, you know where I'm going.
It makes
with
me
this.
upset because Fauci needs to be tried. And
we know what you're going to say. Don't say it. You'll get me kicked off the air.
But like, I think Fauci is guilty of so many different criminal activities when it came to COVID.
Absolutely he was. And other things he's done. Yeah. So the guy's been a menace to this country since the day he got that job.
Yeah. So like that's when you pardon people and it's like, well, they didn't commit crimes. It's like, it's because they did and no one ever actually went with it.
Yeah, you don't give someone a blanket pardon if they have nothing to hide. Now, they'll hide behind the excuse that they don't want him to go through the testimonies and have to hire lawyers and blah, 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 blah. We know that's not it. We know you guys are pardoned. No one has ever, as much as you guys went after Donald Trump's family and terrorized him, by this precedent that Biden set, he would have had every excuse to go pardon all of his children so nobody could mess with him. But he didn't do it, and none of his children faced any legal consequences for it. So Biden's hiding something because he doesn't want them investigated. That's all there is to it. You don't pardon Dr. Trump. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Trump's even indicated that he intended to go after Fauci.
I haven't seen anything about it. I do know, like,
I know his supporters do.
Yeah, I know he wanted to go after like the J6 people because like his name was dragged through the mud and he wanted to investigate that.
Right.
I don't think he ever indicated. Rand Paul
does not like Dr. Fauci.
Was one that wanted to go after Fauci.
Rand Paul does not like Dr. Fauci. So here's on Biden's legacy, right? Biden, so they conducted a poll of over 1,000 voters, right? Conducted a poll of over 1,000 voters. And they said, the question was a real simple one. Can you name one success that Biden had during his presidency? Democrats, Republicans, and independents were polled. And of course, my tablet's going to freeze up right now as I have the article pulled up. But so Democrats, Republicans, and independents were polled. Here, I'm pulling it up on my cell phone real quick. We got to go to the backup, okay? It's, what the hell's going on with this thing? Is this thing shitting the bed on me? Come on. Now it's just toying with me. This is unprofessional, and I apologize. And we don't do that very often on this show. Okay, now I got it pulled up here. So they polled 1,009 voters on Joe Biden's so-called accomplishments. They asked if they could name an accomplishment. And the results were a little less than inspiring for the former president. So it says some 1,009 registered voters were asked for their brief description of the legacy of Biden, who left the White House on Monday at the age of 82 after 4 turbulent years. When the results were arranged in a word cloud, the most common answer sticks out in the center. The most popular answers are economy, inflation, and infrastructure. Yet the same word, nothing, stands out when responses are split. So nothing. They remember nothing. Other words that came out were, let's see if they have any others here. So we've got economy, chaos, nothing, absolutely. I'm assuming absolutely preceded nothing. Prices, jobs. Yeah, so the number one thing, here's the picture right here.
Yeah, nothing.
The number one thing, far and away, that people list of Biden's accomplishments is nothing. Here's my question. When it's all said and done, when we look through the history books, are we going to remember Joe Biden as the worst president in American history or the second worst president in American history?
Truthfully, I don't think he's going to go down as like one of the worst. I think he's going to go down as a bad one.
Yeah.
But it's looking at like his legacy, it's like, okay, well, we had inflation got up over like through the course of his presidency, it was like 20%, something like that.
Right.
Bad. It skyrocketed. Oh, it's down to 2.1. Cool. It was at like 9.
But you have to keep in mind that they changed halfway through his presidency the way they calculate inflation. So whatever the inflation rate that they're telling you is right now, double it, and that's what the actual answer is.
So he had huge inflation, wages got stagnated, job growth won. The job growth after COVID was just a rebound of the different jobs.
Right. You just said, well, it was that, and you had people at record rates getting second and third jobs, and they were counting that toward the job growth. So someone getting, hey, I got this, I've been laid off for 6 months and I got this great job that's paying my bills. That's a good job. Hey, I'm struggling to pay my bills, so now I work at Home Depot on weekends. That's a bad job. I'm not saying that working at Home Depot is a bad job. I'm saying that the fact you had to get a second job just to keep your head above water is what's bad about it.
Right.
So there's good jobs and bad jobs. And they only tell us the bad ones.
And there was data out there that said that a lot of the jobs, quote unquote, that got created, actually American citizens lost jobs and immigrants coming in gained more of those jobs.
Yeah.
And so it was against that. And then when you look at foreign policy, okay, and Trump talked about this, I hate it when they try to defend Joe Biden. Biden and Harris ruined the Afghanistan withdrawal. It was a planned thing to get him out of there, and they completely botched it.
Right. Oh, it was a disaster.
Yeah. And then when you look at Ukraine, so Russia was going to attack Ukraine anyway, regardless. Doesn't matter how you flip it. It was going to happen. But Harris it was at some summit, some international thing. Harris was over there. She was talking and yapping her mouth, and Putin heard about it and escalated the attack because of what she was saying. And then it came to Iran. Do not come.
That's why we don't let women talk.
Yeah. And then it came to Iran. Harris screwed that up. And they ruined, foreign policy was such an issue, and internal, our domestic, job growth, wages, that was all horrible. And then when you talk about crime was drastic,
which they lied about.
And they lied about it. It was drastically up across the nation. It was horrible.
Yeah.
And then we had all the money going into aid that they just kept sending out there.
Well, dude, we covered, before it even broke as a story, we covered the crime thing on the show, right? We covered the crime rates that the Biden administration was reporting on the show. And I was like, look at this. This is the new FBI crime reporting system. Some of the cities that it didn't include Los Angeles, Chicago, Kansas City, New York. I mean, all of Florida, massive. And it was counting, the 60% of the country that it was actually taking into account as if that were 100%. And I'm like, well, of course the crime rate's going to be down. If you're missing nearly half the country, I would certainly hope it's down. And in fact, it wasn't down as low as it should have been. And then it came out that when they updated the numbers, oh, sorry, they were actually up. And of course, they didn't spike the football on that, but they were lying. And we pointed that out months before anybody else ran with that story. It's too bad we don't have a big enough platform. That's why you guys need to share around with your friends.
Yeah. And especially when he took over after 2020 and we're still hitting with COVID and everything, is he kind of pushed the continuation of all the draconian laws and massive, he was encouraging that with a lot of
vaccine mandates. If the Supreme Court didn't stop those vaccine mandates, honestly, man, I would not be surprised if we were still in some form of COVID restrictions, because I feel like the Biden administration would have drug those COVID restrictions out as long as they possibly could have, had the Supreme Court let them get away with it. Them shutting down that vaccine mandate early on was honestly such an underrated, pivotal moment in American history, because it would have been an unmitigated, tyrannical disaster for the next 4 years had they gotten away with that.
And then, when you talk about the culture within, the military and what they were pushing out, everything was just going downhill. There's just I hope Hegseth gets.
It's going to be close.
I hope he gets nominated, but it's just you see everything across the board, and it's I don't think it's going to go down as the worst, because there have been presidents who have been just absolutely abysmal in what they've done, or they become the worst because like Woodrow Wilson's one of the worst presidents. FDR was one of the worst. I don't care.
Yep, fuck
World War II,
FDR.
no, FDR was one of the worst presidents.
Every major economist, every relevant economist agrees that FDR's policies extended the Great Depression.
And
he got lucky with World War II.
Yeah. And so, like, we can see now it is bad. It had immediate results when we were looking at it. Other presidents, they don't really become bad until later on. We see, like, the later effects. And so, like, Jimmy Carter is a horrible president.
Yeah,
absolutely horrible president.
Disaster.
Stop defending the man.
When he died, we broke down Carter's tenure very, very similar to Biden's. Not just with the stuff going on, but with the rhetoric. Yeah. Like when the economy was bad and people were complaining, Carter didn't come out and apologize. He didn't come out and say, this is what we're doing to fix it. He came out and basically told people, this is your fault for being greedy and obsessed with consumerism. And Biden's administration echoed that. And it's like, guys, those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. When you're practicing these failed ideas and practices, of course it's not going to work.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't think Biden becomes worse. I think he's going to be a very bad
bottom 10.
Bottom 10. Like, he's terrible. And
he's the worst in my lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's one of those moments when you look at it and it's like, we're, adults now, because, like, we didn't really see the effects when, like, in 2008 with Obama. Like, I didn't really, like, I'm in high school. Like, I'm in school during that time. And then, like, Obama's second term, it was kind of like, still. Like, it's not affecting it. But, like, when you went from, like, finally going from Trump's first term, like, I just graduated college, to, like, now going through Biden.
Right.
Like, you saw actual changes. You felt the changes. And I can guarantee you, like, let's stop with this. Trump had Obama's economy. Let's stop with that nonsense. No. It's Biden's, the last 4 years with Biden has been horrible as far as, like, trying to get money, trying to hold on to that money, and trying to buy certain things. Just living your life has been horrible.
Yeah, it's been difficult.
Like, I can get by if, like, luxuries are out of the picture.
Right.
Not when necessities are getting hit hard.
No.
When it's struggling to go day to day, like, that's when it is.
That's when it sucks, man. That's when it becomes brutal. Absolutely it is. It's I completely agree. It's been an unmitigated disaster. And I agree on the Obama thing as well. People like to because Obama was so eloquent and such a good speaker, they like to claim that he was a good president, but it was very Newsom-esque. Just because you can sell the car doesn't mean it's a car I want to drive, right? Obama, I don't think, did a good job because Donald Trump's election in 2016 was a referendum on Obama.
Right.
You had Hillary Clinton, who was basically promising to continue the status quo, be another 4 to 8 years of Barack Obama. And then you had Donald Trump, who was saying, I'm going to take a match to this system and pour gasoline on it and blow the whole thing up because it's been a disaster. We're going to start from scratch. Take a chance on me. What do you think? And more people went, let's do that.
I think one of the bigger failures of Obama was Obamacare.
Oh, dude, people want to bitch about this Luigi Mangione thing and about healthcare prices. Your gripe is with the government.
Yeah.
The Affordable Care Act absolutely obliterated the middle class because it basically passed the bill for poor people onto us and made us pay higher insurance premiums for shittier care with it. That's all Obamacare did. It was an unmedicated disaster.
Do I think obese people need to pay 130% of the bill? Yes.
Yes, absolutely. More.
More. Like, but it's just like, that was like one of the bigger failures, I think, like, actually, like, helped Trump get forward, because a lot of stuff with Obama was like the tip of the spear when it came to the insane rhetoric and unhinged responses to the other side.
Yep.
He was the one that kind of spearheaded that. If you listen to him, he's not as bad as, like, what politicians are now, but it was still bad.
He had a way of doing it, though. Is Obama would say the same things that a lot of these unhinged lunatics like AOC are saying, but he would sound way more professional when he would say it, right? So it wouldn't sound like some crazy blue-haired feminist just said it. It's this good-looking dude in a business suit who's really well-spoken and, like, very professional. And also it was a different messenger, but he was essentially saying the same thing. He would stoke the flames of their extreme base to the same degree that folks like AOC and Elizabeth Warren do, but just in a different fashion than them. It was an easier pill for people to swallow.
Right. And so but like looking at, yeah, Biden's got to be bottom 10, and it's going to be such a pressure. I'm excited for the next 4 years, to be honest.
Yeah.
Let's turn the page.
Let's get out of here. All right, we're going to talk one more and then we're done. We're getting out of here. This is local news. I'm going to do a Sunday bonus show, a couple quick topics I'm going to hit for you guys on Sunday. So stay tuned. Don't worry. I know I mentioned a couple things, but it's getting late here. So this is the last one. This is local news. I heard this on the radio. So Millard Public Schools, school district in Omaha, has got a $158 million bond, right? Now they have claimed that it is going to they've claimed that it's not going to raise anybody's taxes. They make that claim all the time. They're going to raise you. And this is the biggest lie that state governments do, right? When they pass these bonds, we're not going to raise anyone's taxes. They're technically correct. They're not going to raise your property tax rate. They're just going to send the county assessor to you and everybody else in your neighborhood, and he's going to decide that all of your houses increased $50,000 in value from between now and 6 months ago when they assessed it last. That's how they lie and technically don't raise your taxes. They just raise the value of the thing they're taking the percentage out of to tax. It's the biggest scam that the government does.
What's stopping a county assessor from going to the house and being like, it's only worth $1?
Right. Or, on the other hand, what's stopping the county assessor from going, hey, this house is worth $1 million? My shotgun. That's what. That's what's stopping him. Is an armed
maybe I should
rebellion.
look into like the county assessor and like I'll run for that in the future.
You should.
Like, all I do is like go around the house. It's like you need to look at these neighborhoods.
Well, what they need to do is, and I've said this before, what they've got to do is if you buy a house, you are locked in at that property value until you go to sell it. So if you bought your house or refinance. So if you bought your house 25 years ago and they appraise it at $150,000, guess what? Even if it's worth $400,000, if you want to sell it today, you're only getting taxed at $150,000 unless you refinance it, right? And that'll be something people have to consider when they go for refis for lower interest rates is, will the tax burden cancel that out, right? And I think that might help people because they'll stay in mortgages not quite as long. They'll pay them off a little bit sooner, staying at the rates they have. And it'll help the banking system may stabilize a little bit as well. But they also need to go back and take all the people that they fucked over and retroactively devalue their tax burdens. They need to go back and they need to say, look, we messed up. You paid $100,000 for this house. We've been taxing you at $3,000 for it. Next year, you're going back to what you bought it for, unless you want to sell it or refinance it.
Like imagine just the next year, like you have a house, like everything's going good. You got like the allotted amount, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, you get assessed, and the tax increase makes it to where it's like an extra $350 a month.
That happens to people.
That happens a ton.
And you can go dispute it to the people who decided to raise it.
Right.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
No. New businesses, new area development. Guess what? Now it's at like $600 a month.
Yep.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it's insane. It's criminal. It's criminal. So, and this pisses me off because this hits home for me. So it says, the ballots on their way to the ballots ask a yes or no question for a $158 million bond. School officials plan to use the money to renovate older schools in the district, maintain the buildings, and update safety and security in those schools. Okay, fine. My problem with this is they're using as the reason why they need to update the security in the schools the school shooting at Millard South in 2011 where an assistant principal was killed. I was a freshman when that happened at Millard South. I was 20 feet from that shooting when it happened. Oh, bet you guys didn't know that, huh? Yeah, I was 20 feet from that shooting when it happened. I was a freshman in high school. They haven't had one since. So whatever you did after that obviously worked. I don't think you need $160 million new dollars. I think it is absolutely shameful that you're taking a tragedy from 14 years ago and using it as an excuse to steal more people's money. That is despicable. And just stand up and be a man about it. But that's not even the worst part about this. Do you want to know the worst part about this? They decided that this isn't even an issue that you can go in and vote for at the election office. That's right. It's only through mail-in ballots. They've decided that this is only something we can vote on through the mail. They haven't really told us what it is. They've said it likely won't raise anyone's property taxes, so they're not even going to commit to that. They're gonna charge you more money for it. They're gonna stand on a dead woman's grave from 14 years ago over an issue that, if it was really that big of a problem, should have been nipped in the bud after it happened. And they're not even gonna let you go into the polling place to vote. It's only through mail. And I wonder if this one's gonna pass. If you can only vote through the mail, I wonder if this will pass.
Ballot harvesting. They don't check on the little school referendums.
Yeah, I wonder. No, I mean, we're going to make a big stink out of this. I'm going to clip this. I'm going to post it all over. We're going to tag them and we're going to call them out on their bullshit because this is garbage. I mean, this is criminal, the way they're trying to force this through. I have absolutely no faith that this ballot initiative will be counted with any integrity. I guarantee you it passes. And it is despicable. I don't care that they're telling you they're not going to raise your property taxes. Like I said, they're just going to send the county assessor to your house, decide it's magically worth another $40,000. And technically, they didn't raise the taxes. They just raised the item of which they were taxing you on. It is a scam, criminal to the core, what these people are doing and the way they're going about doing it. If you live in Millard and you get this fuck-ass ballot sent to your house, vote no on this retarded bullshit. Absolutely strike it down. It is criminal. Okay, I'm done. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I'm saying if you really want to make a difference when it comes to schools, when it comes to their budgets and everything, have the entire OPS, MPS, have all the school systems in Nebraska, well, specifically the Omaha area, have all of them audited.
Yo, they're not going to want that. Absolutely not.
Audited. And I want that information public, because when you break it down to salaries and you start to realize the administrative staff that has no business being there, that all they're doing, it's just a jobs program for adults.
Yeah.
And like you hear these teachers wondering why they don't get paid enough. Well, why don't you ask all the different administrative staff that get six-figure salaries for doing absolutely nothing?
Yep.
So you audit all the school systems.
Taxpayer money, by the way.
And you put all that information public. That is it.
Yeah.
And people are going to start looking at it a little bit differently.
I like that. I like that. Let's figure out where our money's actually going.
Figure out where it's going.
Let's figure out where this money's actually going, because you can go online and see how much a teacher makes.
You can see how all of them make, but it's a lot of different like PDFs and everything. It's like
you've got to dig through it. They bury it. It's like the nutritional information at McDonald's.
I want it audited. I want specific audits being done on all of it. I want it down to the penny to where you see it, and I want that thing in a nice little pie chart that shows where it's like taxes to like public fund. Like I want all
what's going to the teachers, what's going to the classrooms, what's going to the administrators. Yeah, because that's the thing is if you look up just an administrator's salary and you see that person makes $166,000 a year, you'll go, wow, that's a lot, and not think anything of it. But you're right. If you see it on a pie chart compared to what teachers are making, compared to what they're spending on, the playground equipment and the school equipment and school safety, school sanitation, things like that, and you see how much more money these people are making than anybody else on absolutely worthless jobs, you would want to totally restart the system.
Yes.
Rip it apart and start anew, politically, figuratively.
Yeah.
That's the thing there is, like I said, you can get this information. It's all public. I want it broken down and compared. I completely agree with you. I want it audited. I want to see what they're actually doing. I want deeper than what these people are making. I want to know what the hell it is they're doing. I want these people that make six figures a year and interact with kids that aren't their own, maybe once a year in the schools, to come forward, not to the school board, not to the superintendent. I want them all to be put forward on trial to the people in their district and explain why they deserve to not only keep their job, but to keep it at that high of a salary. Tell us what it is you do and how it benefits the children in your school district. And if you can't do it, bye-bye, you're fired. You got to go get a real job where you can't just suck off a six-figure welfare check anymore, sweetheart.
Maybe you keep your job, but maybe you don't get paid $200,000 a year. Maybe you get paid $65,000 because that's what you're worth.
I don't even think they're worth that much. But anyway, that's been our show. Thank you guys so much for going out. Getting a little fiery tonight. I love it. I get pissed off and riled up on the air. Well, this is something that's local and it affects me. And then when I hadn't even read this part of it here, I literally read it on the air and I found out that they were using the school shooting I was at from 14 years ago to stand on a dead woman's grave. And it just pissed me off. They were using my school's tragedy to advance an agenda that had absolutely nothing to do with what they're doing, and they know that, and it's absolutely shameful that they do it. Anyway, I'm going to do a bonus show Sunday. We'll have some extra stuff going on. Jacob won't be here, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll bring him back on soon. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
There's something I want to say. I think we got it all off our chest right now. I just want to know that my heart goes out to you.
To who?
My heart goes out to you.
Oh, my heart goes out to you too, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
Hit the cord.
Thank you. My heart goes out. My heart goes out to all of you. All right, guys. Cheat on your taxes, not your spouses. Stay based.